Good evening, everybody. I'm on the wrong page. There we go. Welcome back to another stream. FPL is finally live. That took a long time, nearly 2 hours from when the game went down, but we are in now. If I know that one of the questions is going to be on, one of the questions is going to keep coming in, is what I'm trying to say, is how do you check your ID? You click Game Week History on the right, and that is basically how you do it. In fact, I should now, hopefully, have another screen with a bit of a bigger page, which I can show you. Game Week History here. Click that, and then in the URL at the top of the screen, which you can't actually see here, I've got it cut off, but in your URL, it'll say entry / and then it'll have a number. That is your ID. Mine is 387. It would have actually been higher. I don't know anyone else. It said, I was trying to auto-complete, because that's what you have to do for speed. This is my auto-complete team. And I couldn't see the button. It said press auto-complete, but it wasn't highlighted, so I couldn't see it. So in the end, I got it. Yes, auto-pick did go for Edison, although it has benched him. It's gone for Edison and Alisson, 2 Brazilians. Does feel a little bit expensive, probably. Tony also in there as well. Tony's 8 million. There are no forwards that cost more than 8 million. It's apart from Kane and Haaland, which is crazy. The same with midfielders. There's no midfielders apart from De Bruyne that cost more than 9 million. So you got De Bruyne and Salah, Kane and Haaland. That's it. That is it. So, I don't know. It might lead to some interesting team setups. Do you go for Salah? Do you go for Trent? Do you go for neither? Could work. Mason Mount is still at Chelsea. He's come in at 7 million. Not bad. Not bad, possibly. We'll have to see where he ends up playing for Man United, but that could be he could be a good option at some point. I think he's going to get quite good minutes. Oh, I haven't put my league code in. Oh, let me just get my league code. In the, I knew I'd forget something. I think I remembered. I did. Oh, I did put it in. I just didn't click update. Should update now. There we go. I thought you were a Man United fan. I am, but I went in quick, so I've chosen Aston Villa as my league because you have to go quick to try and get in. Has lowest price forward always been 5 million? No, usually there's some 4.5s. Is there no 4.5s? Do you know what? I think it's going to just be easier to use this screen. So forwards, cheapest one. Yeah, there's 4.5s. Broya. What? 4.5? Sorry. He's 5 million. Sorry. I thought it was 4.5. That would have been mad. Obviously, Chelsea's going to... obviously, they'll put Mason Mount to Man United soon. Soon-ish. You're number 1. Fair play. You can change your team name. Yeah, I'll do that later on. So there are 4.5 million forwards, as there usually is. You've got Sims at Everton. There's a bunch of guys you can just put in. Archer again at Aston Villa is 4.5 million. You can change your team there, yeah. There might be some issues. Wilson is 8 million. I thought he probably would be. He's 0.5 million more than Isak. Maddison and Foden. Now, if we just go to price order here, instead of total points, let's go to price. So Havertz, Luis Diaz is all. There's so many 7.5 million midfielders. This is like the new 8 million from last year. In fact, let me go 8. Let me just go 9. Let's just look at all of them. So Rashford and Son. Then you've got the 8.5s. Bruno, Saka and Odegaard. Martinelli is 0.5 less. So is Jota, 8 million. Then I don't know. Lots of people are talking about Foden already. I think people think that Foden's going to get more minutes than he did last season. Probably. So 7.5 could be nice for him. 7 million Trossard. Probably not going to get enough minutes unless there's injuries. Sterling's quite nice. Soboslai, I think that's how you pronounce it. Have I got it right? I was watching the video during the refresh marathon. Soboslai. I don't know how quickly. I think if I say it slower, I get it more correctly. But I think that's it. Soboslai is 7 million. Anthony and Sancho also 7 million. I don't know if there's... This is the problem, right? They release so many prices before the game actually comes out that it's almost a bit of an anticlimax when it actually releases, because we already know all these prices, right? I don't think there's anything too interesting here. Let's have a look at defenders. Might be more interest. So obviously Trent's 8. There's no other defenders above 6.5. Robertson and Trippier are both that price. Van Dijk is now 2 million cheaper than Trent. 2 million cheaper than Trent. I mean, I think if you want a Liverpool defender, you probably always want Trent, but I don't know. There might be times where it's just not worth paying that extra 2 million. I got to be honest. I was looking at drafts earlier, and I didn't have Salah or Trent. Ben White 5.5. I don't really get why Zinchenko is 0.5 million less, to be honest with you. I mean, Arsenal fans, let me know if you think I'm wrong, but I feel like Zinchenko is probably just as nailed on as Ben White. I mean, I guess Ben White did go through a small phase towards the end of the season where he's getting a lot of attacking returns, but I don't really get it, to be honest. Gabriel's only 5 million as well. So, did Ben White get that many more points last year? He got 156 points, and Gabriel got 146. I don't get why the 0.5 million difference. It's just... It makes no sense to me at all. So yeah, I don't get that. Gabriel at 5 million will probably be in my team. Alex Moreno's 5 million. Dunk is the same price as Estepinian. Pointless. Everyone is just going to go for Estepinian. He should be 0.5 million less, I think. Cucurella and Thiago Silva are both 5. Yeah, how much are Chelsea defenders? Okay, so James and Chilwell probably 5.5, and then the rest are all 5 or below. Azpilicueta, obviously, he's probably leaving. Carwell Fofana, only 4.5. Madueke, 5. Yeah, let's look at the rest of the midfielders. So Mudryk is 6.5. Sterling and Mount, obviously Mount's leaving. Everyone else for Chelsea, everyone is 7.5 million or below. Crazy. Lukaku, who's forgotten about him? He's only 7 million. He's probably not going to be playing next year. Gusto, he's the new guy that can play right. Where is? Oh no, he's not in here. Oh, is there a second page? Yeah, Gusto 4 million. Interesting. Kyle Patrick Vineyard, 10 months member. Thank you very much. Hope you're okay. I'm great. It's my birthday today, by the way. I should probably milk that a bit, right? I've literally spent my birthday waiting all day for FPL to launch so I could do this stream. So if you haven't already, make sure to give it a like. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. That would be much appreciated. Would argue White is less nailed with the signing of Timber. That's kind of what I think as well. Although Timber could just be backup for White and Saliba. But I'll probably just go for Gabriel, to be honest with you. Presumably, De Gea is still listed as a Man United player. Yeah, of course he is. Let me just have a quick look. So, all the Man United defenders look to be 5 million, apart from Shaw. So, Dalot, Martinez, Varane. Cher, as I expected, is 5 million. Lots of the Man City defenders are 5 million as well, apart from Stones and presumably Ruben Dias as well. Yeah, 5.5. Who else we got here? And lots of people got excited about Pedro Porro, but I feel like he was signed to play as a wing-back, and now Postecoglou is probably not going to play with wing-back, so I don't know how he's going to fare whatsoever. Cash, Diego Carlos, Luca Dean, Konsa, and Mings, all 4.5. Moreno's probably the one you want, though, I guess, if you've got that extra cash. There's not a huge amount of interest in 4.5 million defenders. Botman, Mings, but like Pau Torres has been signed, right? Oh, De Gea's not in the game. Yeah, that's fair enough. He's out of contract, isn't he? Technically, he's not a Man United player as it stands. So I guess that kind of makes a bit of sense. Yeah, I don't think there's a huge amount of interest in 4.5 million defenders, to be honest with you. Alex Telles is still a Man United player. I've completely forgotten about that. Harry Maguire only 4.5. Lots of the Spurs defenders are 4.5. We'll have to see who's nailed on to play and how many more signings and stuff they make. Botman 4.5. I don't really get that, to be honest. I guess he hasn't got as much attacking threat as Cher. Yeah, let's look at goalkeepers next. A few people putting them in the chat. Every single West Ham defender is 4.5. Goalkeepers, so Alisson, Edison and Pope are all 5.5. I'm probably not going to start with any of them. Edison, I'd love Edison, but it's probably not going to happen. Ramsdale, Martinez, Raya is 5. Kepa is 5 as well. Spurs goalkeeper's 5. I don't really get why Jose Sar's 5. I feel like he could be 4.5, but hang on, that doesn't. Flecken is 4.5. This is basically the guy they've signed to replace. This is the guy they've signed to replace Raya, right? Like, this is where I just don't get FPL's pricing. If Raya is 5, Flecken should be 5 as well, right? Because if Raya goes, you've then suddenly got Brentford's first choice keeper for 4.5 million. So that doesn't really make sense. Steele is 4.5. So is Verbruggen, the guy they've just signed. I've probably pronounced that wrong. So Brighton's goalkeeper is 4.5 million. That is massively tempting. I guess they had to be a bit cheaper because Estupiñán's 5. But yeah, suddenly maybe Pickford isn't the best. Maybe Pickford's not going to be the best 4.5. It might be Brighton's goalkeeper or possibly Flecken for Brentford. And if you look at Brentford's fixture, wow, it's so annoying. I hate the way this is set up. Oh, hang on. Oh yeah, perfect. Like Spurs, not great, I guess, but then it's Fulham, Palace, Bournemouth, Newcastle, Everton, Forest. Like, it's a pretty good, even up to like kind of the Burnley game here. It's pretty nice opening fixtures. I mean, you've got till game week 20 to use your wild card, so you might not want to necessarily. Like we might have to think a bit longer term this season because obviously last year we knew that we could just use our wild card because we had the World Cup wild card as well. The game is up, yeah. Johnson rotates well with Martinez, but I don't think I would want to spend 9.5 million. If there's a new format, I don't think they haven't announced it. If there's a new format, it's not been announced, so perhaps it's coming later. Look at my team name. SDF, SDF, DF, SSAF. Is it like an FPL tradition to complain about the price at the start of the season? I've seen a couple of big FPL accounts complain a lot. I guess the prices just aren't great. So, yeah. No, free hit's not deleted. There's just no free hit here because there's no point. You just wouldn't want to play your free hit in game week 1, right? Because you've got essentially a free hit straight away. So that's why it's not there. That will come in game week 2. I think I had a quick look at the rules before I signed in. Before I started streaming, and I just don't think there's anything interesting whatsoever from what I can see. It looks pretty much exactly the same as every single year, which we kind of come to expect, which I don't really mind to us. I think FPL is a pretty solid game as it is, so it doesn't really bother me too much about, central defensive midfielders and stuff like that. It's not possible to play free hit. Yeah, exactly. You can't play free hit game week 1. The deadline is still 90 minutes before. You can only save up to. You can never have more than one saved transfer. Yes, there's still 2 transfers. Chips is still bench boost, free hit, triple captain, and wild card. Wild card can be used twice a season. So the first one you can use right up until Saturday the 30th of December. So you could wild card on Christmas Day if you wanted to. Deadlines, like I said, are still 90 minutes before the kickoff of the first game. So for everyone that wanted the deadlines changed, that hasn't happened, which to be honest, I kind of agree with. Either put them at the time of the first match or just don't change them at all. And then, yeah, most of this looks exactly the same. I don't really see too much difference. They don't really change too much. Maybe there's some. I think there's some. This looks a bit longer, this passage, and maybe they've updated the wording for how assists are done. But in terms of points, it's exactly the same. And then obviously all your leagues and whatnot. Yeah, ID I already said. You have to go to game week history here. You go game week history and then check the number in your URL. Prices are super cheap. They are pretty much cheap. Although if you wanted to make a squad with Haaland and Kane and Trent, it'd get a lot more difficult. I think I will say this, right? I don't think a lot of the prices make sense. I think they are just incorrect. But it's easy to say it's easy to make a good squad because most of us are just already seemingly comfortable to not have players like Salah or Kane. You try and fit them in, and suddenly it's a lot more difficult to build a team. What team am I going for? I mean, I haven't. Obviously, the game's just launched. I haven't given it a huge amount of thought. I was kind of putting a team together earlier, so I think I had a 4 million goalkeeper. I'd probably go. I don't know who's going to be first choice for Brighton. I don't know if we're going to find out. We might find out during pre-season, but I'm presuming that Raya's going to go. I'll get a 4 million goalkeeper. I saw someone just there say that, yeah, Areola's 4 million. At some point, he could become first choice for West Ham. So we'll put him in. Yeah, draft video tomorrow, probably. Let me just get rid of some of these players a second. I am very intrigued by both Maddison and Havertz at 7.5 million. Presumably, Maddison's going to be almost certain, nailed on, right? I think I'm going to have Luke Shaw. I'm pretty interested in Gabriel, to be honest with you, for Arsenal. I really like Arsenal's fixtures. Let me just go here. Why doesn't that show up? So annoying. Prices don't change before game week 1. No, only before game week 2. Eshapinian, I think. Although, who knows? Brighton goalkeeper and no Brighton defender could work. Mitoma. Maybe Mitoma. I think I'd definitely have Saka on penalties, like one of the best for minutes. I do wonder if I just have 2 Arsenal midfielders, to be honest with you. I just don't know whether Odegaard's going to perform as well as he did last year. Will Havertz take up the mantle of being a bit more attacking than him? Possibly. We'll have to see pre-season how Arteta goes to fit them all in. I guess we've got our own Haaland, right? We've got our own Haaland. I'm going to put in a 4.5 million forward, and I'm also going to put... I quite like Calvert-Lewin, if I'm honest. 6 million. Like, if you look at Everton's starting fixtures, Fulham, Villa, Wolves, Sheffield United, Arsenal, Brentford, Luton, Bournemouth. Like, the first 8 are pretty good. The thing is, Calvert-Lewin probably won't stay fit for that long. But you never know. Yeah, probably Rashford over Fernandes. I think I can also afford Son. And then probably want maybe one of the 4 million defenders just to not play. Like Bayer at Burnley. And then Botman, I guess. I haven't really thought too much about which defenders to pair, but I can still afford another £8 million midfielder. So even if I wanted... I could even do this. Could even go De Bruyne. Although De Bruyne might not even be fit to start, to be honest. Let's just say Foden for a second. Foden. He's still got 9.5. Like, it's mad. It's absolutely mad. Cavalier will be injured before this stream is over. Possibly. But look, okay, let's say I go for a more expensive forward. Let's say I even put Jesus in, right? Put Jesus in. Get rid of Odegaard. So 16 million to spend on two more midfielders, right? Yeah, I mean Salah's probably a bit too difficult to fit in, I think, for me. You'd have to start doing stuff like in Bomber and then a 4.5. So it's probably a bit too. It's hard to have Trent and Salah for sure. And by the way, I've not got Trent in. Yeah, I've not got Trent in this team. But just hang on a second, right? Just hang on a second. I'm trying to think of who else I would put in. Let's just say Son. And then 8 million. I would probably go... I don't know. Bruno Fernandes? I've got to find 0.5 million from somewhere, though. I mean, I'd probably just go Son down to an 8.5. But like, I'd have to give it a bit more thought. But we're only 0.5 million off affording an attack like that. Double Arsenal attack, double Man United attack, Spurs, Haaland, in Bomo. Yeah, Martinelli maybe. Yeah. Luton have got 8 forwards. Balogun is 4.5 million. He's been rumoured to move to Palace. That would be ridiculous. Everyone would just own him. Probably be a bit too easy if that happens. Wissa a shout with for 6 million with Tony out. I quite like Mbommo though because he'd be on penalties. He'd be on penalties. But if I wanted to get Trent in here, I would probably. I think Mitoma and Mbommo or something like that is probably how a lot of people will get Trent. You actually still need to save quite a bit more money. Maybe this isn't quite as easy as it seems. I think Jesus is probably the kind of scapegoat. Like, this is the thing. If you go to Calvert-Lewin, I'm not saying Calvert-Lewin's as good as Jesus, but it frees up so much money. It's kind of a bit insane, to be honest with you. Although not enough. Whoa. Oh. Hang on. I've lost track of what I just did there. Oh, how did I put Cancelo in? What? I didn't even click on Cancelo. That's better. I don't know what happened there. Maybe I did click on Cancelo. So it would look like that. In fact, it doesn't matter. You can just save it because you've got unlimited transfers. So this is what the team would look like. So you'd obviously put this guy in. You maybe even bench Trent game week 1. Bench Trent game week 1? What are we saying? What could go wrong with benching one of the best defenders that's ever been in FPL? No one. I love this. Right, we're like 20 minutes since the game has been live, and then we've already got comments like no one Kunku is wild, as if like he's absolutely essential already. I mean, to be honest, I am very tempted by him. I really like Chelsea. I think they got a lot of value in Kunku being one. But obviously there's sacrifices to be made. If I want Nkunku, I've got to get rid of Trent, or I've got to get rid of Saka or Son or Rashford. There's lots... no Salah is wild. Start Bayer, trust me. 15-pointer against Man City. No chance. Nkunku is someone I like. His goals and assist record for the last couple of seasons is a bit crazy. I honestly think Trent might be the one that would go. I think. Maybe put Reece James in instead. I mean, Reece James 2.5 million less than Trent. And I'd have $1 million to spend on my midfield. So, I mean, big if, right? But if Havertz was an option, instead of Odegaard, they could even do that. Could even do something like this. Which, again, is a bit crazy. But, look, that's if it works out, all right? No, De Gea's out of contract. Like, he's not technically... Well, it's not technically. He's just not a Man United player as it stands. Which is a bit weird. Bit weird. By the way, as some of you probably saw earlier on Twitter, I have partnered with Fantasy Football Hub for this season. There is a link in the description below if you want to check that out. There's currently 50% off if you go for the yearly options. Loads of tools there. I will be using them throughout the content, but I know they've got to put a bit of stuff together now the game is launched. So you'll see them from tomorrow. In the next video rather than in this stream. You're really thinking that one city... Honestly, I would not put too much concern into what my team looks like right now. I've tried to take the summer off. I haven't given it a huge amount of thought. Would I want more than one City player? Of course. Who is that City player though? Do we want to pay 1 million extra to have Ederson? Probably not. Do we want to guarantee which defender is going to play? I mean, I guess people like Stones. He's 5.5 million. So do you have Stones instead of Shaw or Reece James? You could if you wanted to. And then if you're looking at a midfield like Grealish or Foden, I mean, sure, if Foden gets the minutes, he could be an option instead of Havertz. But it's like City players are great if you get the right ones. But I don't think I owned a City midfielder at all last year. I probably did, didn't I? I must have done at some point. I don't know. Defenders were a nightmare for me. We all know how how Ederson went. Will City be as hungry now they've won everything? Well, you got back-to-back treble. You've got, they could win all 4 trophies. That would be pretty crazy. The one thing I would say, Neto's only 5.5 million again. The one thing I would say is everyone says you've got to have a you know, a forward or a midfielder or a defender from this team. You don't have to have anything. And when you do, you've got to weigh it up against other players. So if Foden gets regular minutes for the first 6 to 8 game weeks, starts every game, yeah, he's fantastic value at 7.5. But if he doesn't, there's other 7.5 million midfielders that might be better. And it doesn't mean just because you get rid of Foden, you have to go to a City midfielder. Oh yeah, how much is Evan Ferguson? Didn't check that. 6 million is my bet because it'd probably be the same price as well. But yeah, 6 million for Ferguson. I think he's great. I just don't know if he's suddenly going to get the minutes. He didn't play 90 minutes at all in the league last year for Brighton, and he was rotated quite a bit. They have got options there, so I don't know if I would be that concerned about starting with him. But Luton is a good fixture, so potentially you would. Someone just mentioned Elise. So Eze is 6.5. Elise is 6. Probably not that enticing for me, to be honest. Eze is probably the one you want. Roy Hodgson staying on for another year, at least, I think. I actually checked. So you know everyone went crazy for how good Hodgson did. If you go and look at the fixtures he had, and then you go and check the corresponding fixtures for when Vieira was in charge, they won exactly the same amount of games. So I think Hodgson was in charge for like 9 or 10 games, and he won 5 of them. Vieira also won 5 from that same set of fixtures, the reverse fixtures. He just lost 2 more than Hodgson. So I'm not saying Hodgson didn't improve them. I'm just saying on the fixtures, Patrick Vieira did nearly as well. So it'd be interesting to see how Hodgson does when there's a tougher kind of fixture and how Palace do in general. I'm not an Aston Villa fan. I just picked my team quickly to get in quick. No Newcastle players. I mean, if I need a 4.5 million defender, I'll probably go for Botman. But outside of that, like Wilson at 8 million, possibly. But when you look at the fixtures, City away, Liverpool at home, Brighton away. I mean, to be fair, they're probably not quite as bad for an attacker as they are for a defender. But I just don't see... There's no way I'm going to pay 6.5 million for Trippier. There's too many good 5.5 or below defenders. And I just think... Even Villa at home is not a guarantee of a clean sheet, although it's pretty good, I guess. But clean sheet against City away, Liverpool at home, Brighton away, I don't see too many there. So I'm probably not gonna go for Trippier, although of course we know how good he is from an attacking point of view as well. There is a free hit. Every year we have this. There is a free hit. You just cannot use it in game week 1, so it doesn't show up. Oh, I don't know if that's a bug. Is that a bug? I don't know if that's a bug, but they're not showing... I've just seen Focal tweet about it. They're not showing ownership. They're not showing ownership. Team selected in the bank, 0. I wonder if that's going to hold. Because if it does, that is great. I hope that's not a bug. I hope that's intentional. Absolutely no respect for Villa. People are just so weird. Why is that no respect for Villa? You're talking about a Champions League team at home. At home. Oh, you can see ownership in the app. Oh, can you? So it's just broken then. it is just a bug. Let me see. I don't want to play draft now. Oh, do you know what? I hate the app. I hate the app. Could you go over fixtures, team with the best fixtures quickly? Probably not going to do it right here, right now. But Brentford, Chelsea, like not in depth anyway. Brentford, Chelsea, Everton, pretty good. Brighton, I think. Man United, Arsenal aren't bad either. Man City's fixtures are great. Like they got newly promoted side, home game. Although it's Newcastle, so it's tough, but it's at home. Newly promoted side, Fulham at home, West Ham away, Forest at home. Like the first 6 are so good. That's why someone earlier was saying, do you not want more than one Man City player? And of course I do, but we'll see. Why would they have percentage there if they don't intend to use it? Because they could use it after game week 1. Prices are locked until the season starts. Juan Kunku, this is not the Bundesliga. Yeah, I love it. The Bundesliga tax. Look how badly Haaland did last year. Look how badly he did. Look, with Chelsea, there's a lot that has to go right. They were awful last year. They've made a load of new signings. They've continued to get new players in the door. They've got a new manager. But also, that's why he's 7.5 million, right? So there's a reason why he's that price. I think given what he's done the last couple of seasons, he could potentially be like a 8.5, 9 million player. But for 7.5, you take a risk, don't you? No Liverpool is scary. But again, right, you can say no Liverpool is scary, but who do you bring in and who do you replace in the team? And by the way, this team's not locked in or anything like that. Of course it's not. But like you could have Gakpo instead of Nkunku. I'm fully behind that. If you think Gakpo is still the starting number 9 and Nunez is not going to take minutes off him, then of course he's probably a better option than Nkunku. But, you know, where do you fit in Salah? Is Szoboszlai better than Mboma or Foden? Probably not. Liverpool defender? Well, I'd want Trent. He's 8 million. So where do I get the cash from? These are all the things you kind of got to look at. Thoughts on Szoboszlai? Hurley's great at set pieces and hitting long ranges. Yeah, I don't see me having it. Like, obviously, I'll take a look at pre-season to see what kind of positions he's taken up and stuff like that. But I just don't see me using a spot on him straight away. Like, he's great at set pieces, which is good, of course, but penalties, probably still going to be Salah. Set pieces, probably still going to mostly be Trent. So, is he better than Trent and Salah at those two things? Enough to take him off them? Maybe. Yeah, 4-5-1 could possibly work. I just don't like 4-5-1 because you have to have 2 non-playing forwards. So you've only got 1 bench option. That's the only reason I don't like it. If everything goes well with it, fine. You don't need the bench. You know, that's happy. But that's happy days. But I just don't... It's just not really for me, I don't think. I think Son will play up front if Kane goes. Possibly, yeah. Or obviously Richarlison. Only 7 million, listed as a midfielder as well. Small F, or was that my internet? The stream seems to be okay. Maybe it's a YouTube thing. You could take out Son on a defender for Mac 10 and Trent. You could, but I don't know if I really want McAllister. At least not right now. 4-4-2 can be nice. Yeah, 4-4-2 can definitely be nice. I mean, if you were going 4-4-2 and you were putting in a 4.5 million midfielder, of which I don't know if they're... Oh, hang on. Let me just go on midfielders. I hate that it resets all the time. I don't know if there's any there that are going to play a lot of minutes, to be honest. I'm sure there will be one that emerges. I don't know right now who's the best option, so we're just going to chuck this guy in from Chelsea, who I don't know how to pronounce his name. 2 million in the bank, but the problem is you really need to upgrade this guy, I would say, because you need a good... You probably need a good bench option. Whether Botman's that player, I don't know. But if I wanted to do Reece James up to Trent, you've still got to downgrade somewhere else. So for a 4-4-2, there's still another downgrade that has to happen. I mean, it could be that Son goes down to Maddison. So you just target Spurs with a different player. And then you can afford to spend a little bit extra on Botman. Like get another 5 million defender in, whoever that may be. Maybe even just risk one of the Man City players. I don't know. It does seem a bit too risky for me. I've already got a Chelsea. I mean, you could double up. I could go double Arsenal defence, I guess. Maybe a Brentford defender or something like that. But let's just put Botman in for now. Or share. Like, you could go 4-4-2 and just play that. But I don't know. Like... You'd have a 4.5 million midfielder if there's like another Pereira or something, but I don't know. I think 3-5-2 is going to be the winner, and a last-minute team news ahead of the deadline. Hopefully. Flecken is the goalkeeper. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm just obviously pronouncing it how it looks. He is the goalkeeper that Brentford have signed, presumably to replace Raya. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, by the way, especially if you're obviously new around here. There's loads of content to come throughout pre-season, etc. And also want to hit 400k, which would be good. Lamptey was injured. Yeah, he's always injured. Yeah, he could go for a 5 million midfielder. That's true. That's true. But are there any 5 million midfielders that really stand out? Like, put Botman in here. Botman seems to be my 4.5 million go-to. I don't know if I'd definitely start with him. You probably wouldn't want a Brentford defender if you've got Flecken in goal. Midfielders for 5 million. Reed. Lerma. Schlupp. I mean, it's not really a huge amount that stand out to me. Maybe from like a newly promoted side or something like that, there might be one. Yeah, Clivert. Oh, Utara is still... Is he still only 5 million? How much was he when he came in last year? Where is he? Where is he? Am I in the... Oh, yeah. Okay. I was thinking, am I on the wrong team there? I don't know, though. Is that... Even if he was an optional, there was another 5 million. Is that, like, really worth it? Just to play 4-4-2? I don't know. Look, I suspect by the time I get to game week 1, I will probably have Trent. But there is a part of me that already thinks maybe I'll just go without Trent and without Salah, which would be pretty crazy for me. Not crazy for me anyway. Not crazy decision. It's jarring that you don't show the whole screen. What do you mean? Like, what do you want to see that you can't see? What would you like to see that you can't see? Aaron Smith, thank you very much for signing up as a member. Much appreciated. Muchos appreciated. I think there probably will be some new game modes, or a new mode. Whether or not that's this year, next year, who knows? Kane will be a massive differential. You are correct. I really don't think many people will own him. Salah won't be my game week 1 captain. Honestly, I've seen some people say... I feel like I am basically what people were saying to me last year. Some people say, well, who'd you captain in game week 2 when Haaland's got Newcastle at home? Well, the answer to that is probably Haaland against Newcastle at home, right? And I know they've got the Super Cup or whatever before that. I don't think it's going to matter. That looks like a provisional draft, surely. I mean, the game's been out about 45 minutes, so yes, this is a provisional draft. It's not my locked-in team for game week 1. Haaland, 53% ownership. Yeah, that will massively climb soon. Massively climb. 4-5-1 potentially. Potentially. Again, though, it's just having those two dud forwards. I just don't... I mean, I get it, because let's just say, for argument's sake, the decision is Trent or Watkins or Jesus or Nkunku or Gakpo. Over the season, Trent probably does outscore them. And then you've got to ask yourself, is it worth having Trent and the dud forward, or going for a 4.5 million defender and having a slightly worse option up front? Like, over a number of game weeks, would Watkins or Wilson plus a 4.5 million defender outscore Trent and a 4.5 million forward? Now, obviously, if Trent just stays absolutely fit and you never need that bench option, you're probably fine. But if issues start cropping up, you then get forced into transfers. I wouldn't pay too much attention to ownership, because not everyone will be in yet. And also, a lot of people will just have auto-pick teams. What's my chosen team name? I actually don't know. I like 4-4-2 for the past few seasons because we've had a lot of good attacking defenders. We don't really have them right now. You could argue you've got like Chilwell and Reece James, but I think a lot of us got burnt with them last year. So I think they're still really good options, but I don't know if they're I don't know if they're so good that it would force me into a back four. I think it's going to be 3-5-2. But I don't know. Let's say I'm on 3-5-2 and one of my midfielders is Matoma. or in Bombo, well, maybe I do just get James or Chilwell and play a back four instead. I don't like 3-4-3 because I just don't think there's enough good forwards that are better than midfielders or defenders. Like 3-4-3 has always been the classic formation. It's the best one in terms of bench options and stuff like that, because you get 2 4.5 or 1 4.5 million defender that will play every week. But I just feel like the forward options, as it stands right now, are just not great, to be honest with you. But who knows? Kane will only be owned by Bayern. That is true. We'll have to go and play Fantasy Bundesliga. Fantasy Bundesliga. Yeah, potentially that is a worry. Like, what if Salah goes absolutely nuts early on? How am I going to get him? But I think my thinking right now would be you've just got to make that decision to not have Salah. Like, if Salah does really well against Chelsea, you can't panic just to get him in for Bournemouth. I think you've got to accept before game week 1 that you're just not going to own him for that fixture if you decide to go without him. Because after that, look, I mean, Salah could do really well for Newcastle away, Villa at home, Wolves away. They're good fixtures. Salah's a quality player. He still finished on like nearly 240 points last year. But there's budget constraints, isn't there? So let's say I had this team and I wanted to get Salah in. Well, I would do... Who's the most expensive midfielder? Rashford up to Salah. And I've got to make up like 3.5 million. It's so difficult to do that. Like, you can start downgrading everyone. Put Cal... Oh, actually, hang on. Before we do that, let's just get rid of Trent. Let's just say Trent's the one that's got to go. You could potentially do that. You'd probably need to go... I'm trying to think about this now. 1, 2, 3... I mean, you could play a back four. Really, I think with 2 4.5 million defenders, you want to play a back three instead of a back four. So even if you put, like, Calvert-Lewin in, there's 1.5 million to spend. So this guy goes to Matoma. And you're looking like that. Now, to be fair, that team is not that bad with Salah in it. Like, not bad whatsoever. In fact, I really like it. But there's no Rashford, there's no Fernandes, there's no Son who might absolutely smash it and be worth the 1.5 million over Maddison. Foden, there's maybe some risk there with minutes. We'll have to wait and see. But also, there's no Trent. So, is Salah going to score more points than Trent this year? Almost certainly, but he costs a lot more. So there's always going to be a compromise if you want to kind of fit these players in. I'm not completely against going with Salah whatsoever, but I just think having Salah relies on a lot of the other players doing really doing better than their price. So hoping that Maddison is excellent value at 7.5 versus a Son. Maybe hoping that Havertz is better than Odegaard for 1 million less. I think if I was picking right now, if I had to pick a team right this second and leave it for game week 1, I think I would not have Salah. Is basically how I'm thinking about it right now. But as we get closer to game week 1, players get injured, other options emerge. Maybe it'll actually be easy to fit Salah in. Like, I don't think that team looks too bad. The one issue I have with Calvert-Lewin is, apart from the fact he hasn't been good for a very long time and he's always injured, is if, let's say, he starts the season and then does get injured, where'd you go if you've got no money in the bank? Like, there are other forwards at 6 and 5.5 million, but they're not necessarily players that I would want to go and spend loads of transfers on. I'd probably want to go up to 7.5 or 8, and then suddenly you've got to get a load of money. Where does that come from? It probably comes from selling Salah. So there's a lot of things to think about before we get to game week 1. Crystal Palace players, maybe. Put in 3 Man United players and Mason Mount. That way you can have 4 Man United players for game week 1. That is true. Yeah, Evan Ferguson maybe, but I just don't know if he's going to get consistent starts. So he might be fine for 6 million, but I think I'd probably rather have a player that's going to play more regularly for me. Maybe I'll be wrong about him. Like, it's another year on for him in his development, his age and stuff like that. Maybe he'll be fine. But last year, his minutes were managed quite a lot. And they've got Europe as well this year. Obviously not straight away. Really think the cheaper players means we have more room to pick from a larger pool of them. Really do expect a lot less similar teams from content creators. Possibly. Yeah, I think it... Yeah, I was going to say I think it's possible, but obviously you know that because I've just said possibly twice. Probably 4 times now. Salah has been smashing game week 1 the last couple of seasons. He has, but also go and look at the fixtures he's had. He's always had like a newly promoted side most of the time. This year he's got Chelsea away. Now, to be fair, if they play like they did last year, maybe that's just as easy. But, going away in game week 1 to Chelsea is different than playing Fulham, who I think it was last year. I can't remember. In fact, I can really quickly look this up. Let's have a quick look at Salah's game week 1 fixtures for the last few seasons. So last year, I'm almost certain it was Fulham. Yeah, Fulham. The year before, I'm sure he had Norwich one year. The year before, it was Norwich away. He's got 2 assists, 1 goal. The year before that, Leeds. They were newly promoted, I think, that season. The year before that, it was Norwich again. And then 18-19, West Ham. Got a goal. Fair enough. So, 1, 2... Oh, he was here in 17-18, wasn't he? Watford. Watford. So, Salah's not exactly had the hardest opening day of the season until now. Chelsea away might be a bit more difficult. So whatever I just said, Watford, Norwich twice, Fulham, Leeds and West Ham. That's why he always does well in game week 1. I'm not a Villa fan. Hang on, I'm going to change that on my other screen. I need a team name. I'm rubbish with team names, like really bad. I'll do my kit later as well. There we go. So if I just refresh this. Oh no, have I messed up? Oh no, there we go. There we go. The Man United badge is in now. Nobody's locked, apart from Haaland. By the way, I was thinking this earlier. If Haaland gets injured, right, and look, obviously if he's only injured for a week or two, you might not want to move the funds around too much, right? It probably wouldn't be worth it. But let's say he gets injured and Pep Guardiola says Haaland's out for 2 months. Things get absolutely ridiculous then. Just absolutely stupid, right? So how much is Alvarez for a start? I didn't even check. So Alvarez is only 6.5 million. So Haaland's replacement is 7.5 million less. So suddenly I've got 7.5 million in the bank to spend. So Trent... Let's see how quickly we can spend this. Trent goes in. Maybe the answer is just to go without Haaland. No, it's definitely not. I've still got 4 million to spend, so I can just get everyone expensive, right? So Son instead of Maddison. Still got 2.5, so Rashford as well. So suddenly the team would be like this without Haaland, which is pretty good, I guess. Pretty good. Trent on the bench because we can. Simply FPL, thank you very much for becoming a member. Much appreciated. Again. Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. I am not thinking about going without Haaland. Haaland will be a lock for me. I saw a tweet, I think it was from Big Man Bakar, who said, and I agree with this, said something like, don't even build teams without Haaland because by game week 1 he'll be in your side. Just accept that you're going to have him now. And I completely agree with that. Just accept that Haaland's going to be in your team and play around without that. I mean, some people I know will go Kane or Salah, but most of you are going to start with Haaland, which is easier to have him straight away. But if Haaland is out, it does get a bit silly, especially because Alvarez is so much cheaper. Like, Alvarez should be the same price as, like, Foden and Grealish. He should be at least 7.5. Because if Haaland's out at any point, Alvarez is the man. Why is everyone acting like it's deadline day? It always happens. It always happens. Why have you got this player? Why have you not got that player? I can't believe you haven't covered this team. Every single season it happens. Every single season. Team selected by is live, apparently. Let's have a look. Yeah, it is. So they're still showing it. So basically, there's been no changes to FPL whatsoever. But that's fine. It's a great game. It's a great game. He never gets to play. Yeah, so why would you buy him then? Like, that's the thing with prices. Some of the prices have to be... some of the prices have to be what if they do get played, right? It's like Tony. You know, some people will be saying, why is he 8 million? He's banned. Yeah, but why does that matter? No one's going to buy him anyway, right? But when he is available to play, well, suddenly, is he a good option for 8 million? Absolutely. So, no one's going to buy Alvarez for 6.5 because he doesn't play. No one would buy him for 8 million because he doesn't play. But when he does play, because he's 6.5, suddenly he's such an obvious option to have. So he should be a bit more money, in my opinion. It's the same reason why it makes no sense that Flecken is 4.5 when Raya is 5. Because if Raya leaves, which we're all expecting him, well, I don't know if he definitely will, but there's a lot of talk that he wants to go to a Champions League club in particular. Then suddenly, Brentford's first choice goalkeeper in FPL costs 4.5 million, whereas they actually think he's worth 5 because that's what Raya is. Now, maybe FPL just think that Flecken is not as good a goalkeeper, and therefore Brentford will keep less clean sheets. Maybe that will be the case, but it just doesn't make sense, really. Alvarez is an 8.5 to 9 million pound player when he plays. Yeah, I mean, look, I said this yesterday. I know someone's already said lots of big accounts are kind of moaning about the prices. If FPL added 0.5 million to 1 million to almost every single player, most of the prices wouldn't look out of place, especially if they took off like the bottom 7 teams. So let's say the top 12 teams in the league, top 12 to 14 teams, you add 0.5 to 1 million to almost every single player, most of those prices would still make complete sense. But obviously it wouldn't be so easy to get an absolutely stacked team. I do kind of agree with what Simply FPL said earlier, that because there's so many options in and around these prices, maybe we will see some differences in game week 1. But I always think that feels like the case when the game is only just out. But as you get closer to the deadlines, things start to merge. Like bits of information come out. Like I said, players get injured, pre-season form, pre-season formations. Oh, suddenly Son is playing in a bit more of an advanced position. He's got no hernia issues. He smashed in 5 goals in pre-season. Guess what? Suddenly he becomes a lot more template. So, yeah, we'll see. Strakosha is Brentford's number 1. Is he? Baldock at 4 million starting wingback is insane. Nunez for Gakpo is an argument for either. I mean, there's an argument if you can get the one that gets the minutes. But that is the problem, right? I mean, Nunez played a lot on the left whenever he got minutes towards the end of the season, but he could play through the middle again, especially when Liverpool have actually got some midfielders. I do think that will probably help him play more often. Yeah, Flecken's going to be the number 1. That's why he's been brought in. Martinelli at 8 is pretty great, yeah, as long as he doesn't get rotated or anything with Trossard, which, to be fair, for a lot of last season he didn't. Remember when we all sold him? I've just seen a tweet from That's Football. Tottenham have made a massive new contract offer to Harry Kane that would significantly improve his 200 grand a week terms. The club's talisman has no immediate intentions to sign it and will certainly not do so while the transfer window remains open. Interesting. More than 200 grand a week. I mean, Kane is, like, I know we can say footballers' wages are ridiculous, which of course they are. When you compare him to other players, like, he is obviously a 350 to 400 grand player. So, makes sense that they would offer that. Try and get him to stay and then see. Will Kane really sign a new contract, though? Surely he just leave? I don't know. It's difficult. You secure your future for another 2 to 4 years on ridiculous money, or do you hope you don't get injured and get a massive payoff next year? Tricky. If Kane went to Man United, the Haaland-Kane debate would be massive. I don't think it would. I think people would. I would still go for Haaland, and I don't think it would be that close. I would probably want Kane and Haaland, though. I think if Kane went to Man United, I'd find it very difficult not to have him. And it's probably, to be honest, it's probably easier to fit Kane in than it is Salah, even though they're the same price. What I mean by that is there's way more midfielders at the 6 to 6.5 million price point that are more interesting. So I obviously had Salah in a team just a minute ago. But if you drop Salah down, so let's say instead of Son, we go back to Maddison, right? We'll just play around with this a second. And And then, I don't know, like a Mitoma. And you can actually afford more. You can actually afford another 8.5 here. So you could even go, let's just say go for Odegaard, right? Like Kane is just easier to fit in than Salah because it's just more interesting midfielders. So it's basically like Kane and Mitoma or Salah and like a Calvert-Lewin or something like that. And this has still got Trent, by the way, this team. It's still got Trent. Oh, hang on a second. Hang on a second. There's a little problem here. Little problem. We've got Alvarez and not Haaland. I thought that was a bit too easy. I thought, yeah, it's much harder now. Much harder now. We got 1 million to spend on Odegaard's replacement. 1 million. Yeah, Trent would have to go. Let's see. 4.5. Yeah, it's really difficult. You'd have to downgrade a bunch of players. You probably wouldn't want Maddison either because you've already got. Well, maybe you would. Maddison feeding Kane. Kane feeding Son. Yeah, forget I said anything. It's an absolute nightmare. I guess you could go. Yeah, you could downgrade a few defenders. 6.5, maybe put Mbommo in. Mbommo and a Brighton midfielder, they are going to probably be the picks at 6.5 million. So you look something like that. I think I'd want at least one more 8.5 or 9 million midfielder though, rather than a Maddison. I mean, I'm sold on Trent as a player, of course, and as an FPL option, but 8 million is a lot of money. Obviously, the main thing I would do is just get rid of Kane and get Trent in. There's no way I'm going about Haaland, no case for me. Like the fixtures are just too good to turn down. Like it is quite a few away games there, but like I said earlier, newly promoted side. Fulham at home, great fixture. Forest at home, great fixture. And the two outside of that are Newcastle at home, which is tough, but it's a home game, and West Ham. It'd be difficult to go without Haaland, I think. I mean, maybe here, like Arsenal away, is there maybe a better captain in game week 8? Possibly, but I'll worry about that in like 8 game weeks' time. That is not till the 7th of October. And Haaland could just absolutely smash Arsenal like they did last year. And if I wanted to go elsewhere, Rashford against Brentford maybe. Son, Kane, Maddison against Luton. Like, there's options there that week. Nkunku against Burnley, maybe. West Ham champions of Europe. That is true. And they are massive, so yeah. Can you admit your first essential player is Haaland? Yeah, I think it has to be. I'm kind of sad. This might be the first season in 6 seasons. Is it 6? Hang on, it might be 7. Might be the first. How many seasons has Salah done now at Liverpool? He's done 6, hasn't he? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, he's done 6 seasons. So this will be the first season in 7 that I haven't started with Salah. Sad times. Because even when he joined Liverpool, I had him in my Game Week 1 squad, where he absolutely smashed it and got 303 points. Yeah, there is team selected by now, but it's not really a huge thing to worry about because obviously people are only just starting making their team, so we'll have a look at it later on. Yeah, I think where Mount is playing, definitely. But also, like, Mount 7 million. So then I'm thinking, okay, I could go Foden for an extra 0.5, Maddison for an extra 0.5. Will they be more attacking? Sterling at Chelsea. Yeah, Raya would be the starter if he stays, but I think a lot of people... I think Raya wants to go. Obviously, if Raya is still there in Game Week 1, I just won't have Flecken. I'll go to a different 4.5. Or even maybe spend an extra 0.5 and get like Kepa or Ramsdale or someone like that. Most nailed Arsenal defender with Timber coming in. I would assume... Well, I think... I don't think Timber's coming in to be first choice, to be honest with you. Like, in terms of centre-backs, I think Saliba and Gabriel are still pretty nailed. Again, I could be wrong about that, but... I think when fit, Zinchenko and Gabriel are still pretty good options at 5 million for Arsenal. Yeah, if Kane goes, Richarlison at 7 million, definitely an option. All right, I think I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining me. Obviously, there's loads of content to come throughout pre-season, so there's no rush to get it all done right now. I was going to record another video for later today, but I just think with how late FPL launched, I have to record it, then edit it. Like I'm going to use the birthday colour. It is my birthday. I don't think I want to stay the next few hours recording a video. But to be honest, I think I can get one recorded pretty quick tomorrow anyway, so no panic. There will be another video up tomorrow, and then likely a video pretty much every single day right up until the game week 1 deadline. As I said earlier, I have partnered with Fantasy Football Hub. If you haven't already checked them out, make sure you do. If you sign up for their yearly subscription, it is 50% off. There is a link in the description below. They've got loads of tools and stuff like that. I'll be showing you them, or showcasing them, I should say, as we go through the content. So thank you very much for joining me. If a birthday doesn't deserve a like and subscribe, I don't know what does. So make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to hit subscribe. And I will catch you plenty of times throughout pre-season and all through the season. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you later.